Mexicans working in America now. They're all in the construction crews. They're all in the food services. So they lied. Okay? They just needed a pretext to put military on the border. Not to keep people out. To keep people from leaving. Okay? The terrorists used to be Arabs. That's what we were told. Yeah, I thought Bin Laden ran into the towers. It had shifted from Bin Laden to homegrown domestic terrorism. Because you're going to see the desolation of abomination is still continuing. It's really to stomp out the children of Israel. You're going to, in this book, this is a little tore up because I got an old one. I got to tape it back together. But I don't want to let this book go because it's a good one. The works of Josephus complete and unabridged. That's why I got this one, because it's complete and unabridged. This particular book is more in detail, and it doesn't, you know, it's not watered down. Because this was so graphic, they had to make new ones. Not as graphic as what you can find in the unabridged version. That's why it's called unabridged. All right? Now, in this book, it goes into the desolation of abominations. And when I read it, you know, how it parallel would happen today is well beyond anything I thought I would read. Like, everything that's happening in America today, in a world abroad that's focused at destroying our people, is written of in this book. Josephus was a Jew. He was one of our brothers. And he surrendered himself to Titus, okay, so that he could, you know, the Most High used him to record our desolation, okay. He was like a reporter of the Jews, and we thank the Most High that he did record it, because if we would have heard this through Roman history, give me a break. I mean, it would have been like the story you hear about on Thanksgiving with the Indians sitting down with the Pilgrims on Thanksgiving. That's what they would teach if the Romans was writing this. All right? So, I'm going to show you in parallel what's going on today and how they're trying to cut off the borders. And I'm going to also show you how, now, this may be a little graphic, but we're going to read it just the way it is. We're going to read exactly what happened to bring forth the desolation in 70 AD, so that our people had to flee. Go to the War of the Jews in your Josephus. Now, if you don't have this, you can go to the gatheringofchristchurch.com, and you can look under Bibles and books, and you'll see Josephus, and you can follow us on your computers. You have one? Yeah, there you go. So Titus, Vespasian and Titus, which are Romans, took the Jews down. Okay? Let's go to the 12th chapter, and let's start at the first verse. First, we're going to parallel the border control. No, we're going to the War of the Jews. Excuse me, Book 5. Book 5, chapter 12. Yeah. Ready? Now, we read the one in Mark, right, where it says, when you see the desolation, we read that. Start at the first verse, read it.
War of the Jews, Book 5, chapter 12, paragraph 1. And now that Titus consulted with his commanders what was to be done. Those that were of the warmest tempers thought he should bring the whole army against the city and storm the wall. For that hitherto, no more than a part of their army had fought with the Jews.
We're at Book 5.
Book 5, chapter 12.
Chapter 12. Read. Read. Start from the beginning again.
And now did Titus consult with his commanders what was to be done. Those that were of the warmest tempers thought he should bring the whole army against the city and storm the wall.
So some people thought, well, listen, why don't we just bring our army down and destroy their wall? Now the problem that they had against attacking us was the fact that we had a fort called Masada, which was built on a mountain. Okay? In Masada, we had rations of food. You know, we could last a long time.
Come on now.
And if anyone tried to come up, we could just roll down fire rocks on them or darts or whatever the case. And, you know, if you have the high ground, usually you'll win. Back then, you know, they didn't have airplanes. Okay? Read on.
For that hitherto, no more than a part of their army had fought with the Jews. But that in case the entire army was to come at once, they would not be able to sustain their attacks, but would be overwhelmed by their darts.
See that? They would have been overwhelmed by the darts or the arrows. So go ahead.
But of those that were for a more cautious management, some were for raising banks again, and others advised to let the banks alone, but to lie still before the city, to guard against the coming out of the Jews, and against their carrying provisions into the city.
See that? To guard against the coming out of the Jews, and against their carrying provisions into the city. You notice we read the swine flu conference Friday, how they was going to control the food going in and out of the areas. Same plan. Read.
And so to leave the enemy to famine.
To leave them starving. Okay, they set up a system that's totally dependent on trucks and bringing your food in. Satan got everything in jail, including the food. Okay? So in order for you to get anything, you must depend on your master. Read.
And this without direct fighting with them. For that despair was not to be conquered, especially to those who were desirous to die by the sword. But while a more terrible misery than that is reserved for them.
Go ahead.
However, Titus did not think it fit so great did not think it fit for so great an army to lie entirely idle.
Go ahead.
And that yet it was in vain to fight with those that would be destroyed one by another. He also showed them how impracticable it was to cast up any more banks and went for want of materials and to guard against the Jews coming out.
So he said, listen, it's better if we just make a guard around where they live, because they'll fight each other. They'll fight each other and tire each other out, and therefore we can save our army for the residue of those that are left. Same thing they did this in Katrina. Some of the army sat back and looked at the people attack and fight each other. Same thing. So when they first start cutting things off, the people they can't get to, they're not going to lose anything. They just don't send no ration in.
Thank you.
Sooner or later, people are going to start robbing each other, fighting each other. Now, I'm not talking about the neo-clans and all those guys. They've been preparing for this over 10 years, believe it or not. Well over 10 years. I know since 1992. Skinheads and KKKs, all these guys have been building trenches and storing food and dry goods, and that's since 92. I knew that. And they could have been doing it longer. The people that's going to panic is us. We haven't been preparing anything. Read.
Still more impracticable, as also that to encompass the whole city round with his army was not very easy, by reason of its magnitude and the difficulty of the situation.
Go ahead.
And on other accounts dangerous. Upon the sallies the Jews might make out of the city. For although they might guard the known passages out of the place, yet would they, when they found themselves under the greatest distress.
You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Contrive secret passages out, as well being acquainted with all such places. And if any provisions were carried in by stealth, the siege would thereby longer delayed. He also owned that he was afraid that the time and length that the time of Lent thus to be spent would diminish the glory